1 year ago, the nation lost one of its greatest heroes. Join us tonight for a very special edition of Earth's Mightiest News as we take a look at our world 1 year after the assassination of Captain America.
Good evening. With Luke Brown, I'm Chris Buke. Tonight, we remember one of the most recognized and respected superheroes to have ever lived. With a career that spanned generations, Captain America's actions in defense of not just this great country, but all the world, will be forever etched into the memories of millions.
It's been 1 year since the tragic day the world lost the man credited with keeping the traditions of our country's forefathers alive. If there was ever a living, breathing embodiment of the American spirit, Captain America was it. But before we can properly address the current standing of the nation, we must look at the events that led up to the death of the dream.
No one will ever forget the events of that fateful day in Stamford, Connecticut, when more than 500 civilians, including 60 children, were killed during a battle between several supervillains and the supergroup come reality TV stars, the New Warriors. Public support of the idea of superhuman registration skyrocketed, and from that day forth, the political landscape of the United States was changed forever.
Captain America was one of the Registration Act's most vocal and active opponents, but after several large-scale conflicts involving numerous members of the superhuman community, it was clear that those siding with anti-registration were fighting a losing battle. Captain America surrendered, surprising the world and the heroes that had chosen to side with him. Having since had his secret identity revealed, Captain America was set to face a military tribunal as Stephen Rogers, a private in the United States Army. Fate had different plans, however, and before Captain America could even make it up the courthouse stairs, an unidentified assassin shot him down in front of countless onlookers.
Following a moving memorial service at Arlington National Cemetery, the mourning period for our country began. Both heroes and everyday citizens were devastated by the occurrence, but perhaps the hardest hit was the masked hero Spider-Man, who ditched the familiar red and blue colors for a black costume emblazoned with a white spider. While the motivation for the assassination remains purely speculative, that hasn't stopped conspiracy theorists and journalists trying to make a name for themselves by supposing truths about the events the American public may never know the actuality of. While our own Jonathan Cooper's investigation into the assassination was met with a cease and desist order, as well as 30 days in a jail outside the limits of Camp Lehigh in Virginia, we haven't given up hope that one day the world will learn the truth about the original Captain America.
Nearly 7 months ago, a new Captain America was spotted defending presidential candidate Senator Wright from a terrorist attack and subsequent assassination attempt during one of last year's debates. Though this new star-spangled savior remains unregistered and thus is technically a fugitive from the law, public support for the new shield slinger is interestingly enough rather high. Though that may have much to do with his direct involvement in saving the world during the Skrull invasion that came to an end mere weeks ago. Whatever the reason for his popularity, it appears that the American people are ready to accept this new Captain America. More importantly, it appears that the ethos of the American dream, truth, justice, liberty, equality, prosperity, and hope, have a chance to live long enough for at least one more generation to relish in the spirit of our great nation.
This past year was full of troubling events that pushed our country to its limits. But in spite of all the adversity we've seen these last 12 months, we as a people have still managed to push on. It may sound strange to say, but perhaps the death of Captain America was just the factor that not just the United States, but the entire planet needed to rally around so that we may overcome the desperate times together. In the months following Captain America's passing, Americans elected their first minority president. In the months following Captain America's passing, we've stopped an alien race from taking over our planet. And in the months since Captain America's passing, we've survived a terrible crisis in which the multiverse nearly collapsed in on itself. The list of our world's accomplishment goes on, but one factor remains a constant. Humanity will endure all obstacles, great and small.
Today we ask you not to dwell on the events of the day Captain America died, but to celebrate the inspiration the man underneath the costume provided to so many of us. As with many of the great leaders that we've lost before, the important things to take from this passing are what he stood for, and to apply those lessons to our own lives.
Captain America was more than a man. He was a symbol. The man may be gone, but the symbol remains, strong and unbreakable, like the American dream for which it stood. We thank you for joining us tonight and hope that your tomorrow is better because of this man. For Luke Brown, I'm Chris Buke, leaving you with the immortal words of Robert Greene Ingersoll. He loves his country best who strives to make it best. Good night, and stay classy, Earth 616.